Let's talk about something that almost everyone who prays has felt at some point. That sense that your prayers are just being met with silence. It's this heavy, confusing quiet that can really test your faith. But what if that silence isn't a no? What if it's actually a really important part of the conversation? Today we're going to dive into that.
Have you ever been there? I mean, really been there? Where you've poured out your entire heart, you've made dua with everything you've got, and what comes back feels like, well, nothing. That experience can open the door to all kinds of questions and doubts. It's a moment of spiritual exhaustion that, trust me, is incredibly common.
So, first things first, let's look this feeling right in the eye. The whole idea of the unanswered prayer. Instead of shying away from it, Islam actually gives us a really profound framework for understanding what might be happening in that quiet space.
And those questions that pop into your head, did Allah even hear me? Is he mad at me? What did I do wrong? Those are completely natural. These little whispers of doubt, they love to show up when we're feeling our most vulnerable. So the first step is just to acknowledge them. But then, we have to be willing to look a little deeper.
Okay, so before we try to interpret the silence from God's end, we've got to look inward first. Check our own connection. Are there any barriers on our path? Think of it like trying to clear away some of the spiritual static.
Our tradition actually points to 4 key areas we should check in with ourselves. The first one is impatience and despair, and we're going to talk more about that in just a second. But there's also things like, are our earnings lawful? Are we neglecting our duties to encourage good in the world? Or are we just feeling weighed down by sins we haven't dealt with? Sometimes, addressing these things is the key to getting a clearer signal.
And listen to how impatience is talked about here. It's not just a minor flaw, it's a huge obstacle. It's almost like we're trying to put the divine on a deadline. But true trust means we have to let go of our timeline and have faith in His. The second we say, well, I prayed and it didn't work, we might be closing the very door we were knocking on.
All right, so let's say we've looked inward, we're trying our best, but the silence is still there. This brings us to the really big question. What does that pause, that silence, actually mean?
And this is where we have to make a huge mental shift. Our default setting is to hear silence and immediately think rejection or absence. But what if it's the total opposite? What if that quiet is actually a period of intense preparation, where profound, unseen work is being done for your own good?
Let's just compare these 2 views. From our limited human perspective, silence looks like rejection. It feels empty. But if we try to see it through the lens of divine wisdom, that exact same silence could be preparation for something amazing, or protection from a harm we can't see, or maybe it's just a time for us to grow. It's not an absence of a response, it's just a different kind of response.
Think about it. The most powerful transformations in the entire universe happen quietly, out of sight. A seed has to be in the dark to sprout. A baby develops in the silence of the womb. Maybe Allah is doing that same kind of deep, quiet work on our hearts. The silence isn't a sign that nothing is happening. It's a sign that the most important work is happening.
And here's the absolute core of it all. We are so focused on asking Allah to change our situation, but maybe what Allah really wants is to change us. You're asking for the hardship to go away, but maybe Allah wants to use that hardship to build a stronger you. Who you become during the journey is so much more important than the immediate destination.
And we always have to remember this foundational belief. No sincere prayer is ever wasted. It's always answered. It just happens in one of 3 ways. 1, it's granted exactly as you asked. 2, it's delayed until the perfect time, when you're actually ready to receive it. Or 3, it's replaced with something so much better for you, either in this life or in the next.
So that brings us to the hardship itself. When we're praying for relief and it's not coming, it is so easy to start feeling like we're being punished. But what if we're seeing it all wrong? What if it's not a punishment at all, but a test that's actually coming from a place of love?
This right here, this is a total game changer. It completely flips the script. Instead of being a sign of anger, a trial can be a sign of deep, divine love. It's an opportunity for you to be purified, to be elevated to a higher rank, an opportunity you just wouldn't get if life was always easy. Allah tests the people He loves to either bring them back to Him or bring them up.
So here's the thing. Whether a hardship becomes a punishment or a blessing, it really comes down to how we respond. If we react with anger, with bitterness, we're choosing one path.
But if we can respond with contentment, with humility, we open ourselves up to a totally different outcome. The test itself is neutral. Our reaction is what defines it for us. Okay, so if we understand the why, then what about the how? How do we actually navigate the waiting period? It's time to open up our spiritual toolkit and look at some practical tools for building that trust with grace.
The first tool is a concept called Sabr Jamil, or beautiful patience. Now, this is not about just gritting your teeth and white-knuckling your way through pain. It's much more profound. It's a state of inner calm, of accepting Allah's plan without panicking or complaining to everyone around you. It means you save your complaints for the only one who can actually change your situation.
And let me be really clear. Beautiful patience does not mean you become a robot with no emotions. Not at all. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, lost his baby son, he cried. He acknowledged his grief and even called it a mercy from God. But, and this is the critical part, his words and actions never, ever showed displeasure with God's plan. So yes, it is okay to be sad. It's human. We just can't let that sadness make us despair.
All right, our second essential tool is Tawakkul. This is a big one. It's this deep, profound trust in Allah. Now, a lot of people misunderstand this and think it means being passive, just sitting back and waiting. But it's the exact opposite. It's an active trust. It's about finding that perfect balance where you do everything in your power and then you place the final outcome entirely in Allah's hands. You've probably heard this famous saying, and it's the perfect analogy. Tie your camel and then put your trust in Allah. You don't just leave your camel loose in the desert and say, I trust God. No. You do your part, you take the practical action and tie the rope. Then you trust Allah to handle the rest. It's the same for us. You study for the exam, you apply for the job, you take the medicine, and then you trust His plan.
And all of this whole process, it leads us to our final and maybe the most important realization of all. The journey itself is the answer.
See, the ultimate goal was never just about getting the thing you wanted, whether it was the job, the healing, or whatever. The real prize is the person you were forged into during the wait. That's the real transformation.
I mean, just think about it. The patience you're forced to learn, the sincerity that gets purified when you pray over and over, that unshakable trust in God that you develop. These aren't temporary fixes. These are permanent spiritual upgrades. They are gifts that shape your very soul and will stay with you long, long after this particular trial is just a memory. So, I want to leave you with this one final thought to reflect on. You prayed for a change in your situation, but maybe Allah wanted to change you. What if that stronger, more patient, more reliant version of yourself, the person you had to become to get through the silence, what if that person is the real and most beautiful answer to your prayer?